This is Bhaktapur, the city of devotees. In this episode, we are mainly focused on Siddha Pokhari and four major squares of Bhaktapur, especially Durbar Square, Taumadhi Square, Dattatraya Square, and Pottery Square. A place where every brick, every alley, and every carving tells a story. Lying in the eastern part of the Kathmandu Valley, Bhaktapur, also known as Bhadgaon or Khopa, is the culture heart of Nepal, an ancient city where art, tradition, and devotion still live and breathe together. In the old Newari language, the name Khopingram means the village of cooked rice. Bhaktapur is often called a living museum, a place where heritage isn't locked behind glass, but lived, practiced, and celebrated every day. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979, the Durbar Square of Bhaktapur stands as a symbol of Nepal's medieval glory. Here, culture is not just remembered, it's performed. The people of Bhaktapur, mostly Newars, have preserved their unique traditions, customs, and craftsmanship for centuries. From their intricate wood carving to their vibrant pottery, you can feel their artistry in every details. The city itself once stood as a powerful kingdom. Bhaktapur became the capital of Nepal from the 12th to the 15th century. The Malla dynasty, known for its devotion and architecture, left behind a treasure of temples and places that still stand today. Until the 18th century, Bhaktapur was protected by boundary walls and guarded gates. Seen from above, the city spread like a flying pigeon, covering 6.88 square kilometers at an altitude of 1401 meters. And of course, Bhaktapur shows like in its timeless icons. The famous Dao, the king of yogurt, the elegant Hagapatasi, the black sari with a red border, the pottery and beautiful handicrafts, each representing a piece of its living culture. Bhaktapur is more than a destination. It's a feeling, a journey back in time where the past walks beside you at every turn. As we step closer to Bhaktapur, the first place to welcome us is Siddha Pokhari. Locals call it Tapakhu or Indradaha. It sits right at the entrance of the walled city, calm, wide, and shimmering like a mirror to the sky. This ancient pond was built in the early 13th century during the period of Arimalla, the first Malla king. And according to some historical records, this pond was developed and declared sacred during the reign of King Yakshamalla of Bhaktapur in the late 17th century. Back then, water wasn't just a daily needs, it was sacred. And this pond became a place where people gathered, prayed, and celebrated life. All around the pond, you will see statues of Shiva, Shakti, and many others. From the Lichibi to Malla era, each figure tells a story of time, devotion, and artistry. And of course, it's not all rituals and reverence. These days, you'll often see families, couples, and children gathered here, feeding fish, sharing snacks, or simply watching the sunset reflect in the pond. It's one of those timeless places where Bhaktapur feels peaceful, grounded, and alive all at once. Now, we step into the heart of Bhaktapur, the place that holds centuries of art, power, and devotion, Bhaktapur Durbar Square. Khopa Gate. Our journey begins at the Khopa Gate, the main entrance to this ancient city. In the old days, this was not just a gate, it was the pride of Bhaktapur. Every traveler, every king, every devotee passed through here, entering a world shaped by the Newar people's vision and artistry. As you enter, you will notice two fierce stone lions guarding the way, proud and timeless. They were placed here by King Bhupatrinda Malla in the 17th century, symbolizing strength and protection. Look closer and you will see two magnificent statues, Bhairavnath, the fearsome form of Lord Shiva, and Ugrachandi, the powerful goddess Durga. Legends say that after the sculptor created these masterpieces, the king had his hands cut off to ensure no one could ever recreate such a perfection again. As we move forward, the square opens like a living museum, a stunning mix of stone art, wood carving, metalwork, and terracotta architecture. This square was once the royal palace courtyard, a stage where kings ruled, artists dreamed, and festivals come alive. Look around and you will see the Golden Gate, glowing with intricate metal designs, the Palace of 55 Windows, a masterpiece of carved wood, the Vatsala Durga Temple, made of pure stone in elegant Sikhara style, and the Big Bell, also known as the Bell of Parking Dogs. Legend says that wherever it rang, dogs across the city howled in response. And if you look closely, each corner hides another story. From the Pashupatinath Temple, with its intricate erotic carvings, to Taumadhi Temple, the royal goddess' sacred shrine, to the dazzling mandap, where kings once welcomed royal guests. Every inch of this square celebrates devotion, beauty, and identity. It's not just a place, it's the Bhaktapur's living heart. Char Dham Temple. At the western end of the square, you will find 4 temples, together known as Char Dham. They were built for those who could not travel all the way to India to visit the famous pilgrimage sites. Here you will see the Kedarnath Temple, Jagannath Temple, Rameswar Temple, and Badrinath Temple, each small, elegant, and filled with meaning. In Bhaktapur, even faith was made accessible for everyone. Vatsala Durga Temple. Next to it, on the eastern side, stand the Vatsala Durga Temple, elegant and majestic, made entirely of stone. Dedicated to goddess Durga in her Vatsala form, it was built in the late 16th century by King Jitamitra Malla, a masterpiece of Sikhara style architecture, complete with fine carving and detailed sculptures. Now, take a moment to admire the Golden Gate, perhaps the most breathtaking example of Newar metalwork. It was built by King Jayaranjit Malla in the 18th century, though its father, King Bhupatinda Malla, had begun the work years before. Above the doorway, you will see Garuda, half man, half bird, spread his wings, protecting the city below. Beneath him sits Taleju Bhavani, the royal goddess, with 4 faces and 10 arms, a symbol of divine power. Even today, people stop here, hands folded, to offer silent prayers. The gate isn't just a metal, it's a memory, devotion, and pride cast in gold. Continuing on, we will reach the main entrance to Mulchok, the oldest part of the palace and the site of Taumadhi Temple, built in 1553. And on, around the corner from Mulchok is the Nag Pokhari, Thonthun Lohiti, a 17th century royal bath by the Malla kingdom and water tank used for the ritual immersion of the idol of Taleju. The Hiti is encircled by a wreathing stone cobra, and other serpents rise up in the middle and at the end of the tank, where water pours from a magnificent dhara in the form of a goat being eaten by a cobra. The Palace of 55 Windows. Just beside the Golden Gate stands the Palace of 55 Windows, a wooden wonder built by King Yakshimalla in the 15th century. The palace is famous for its exquisite windows, 55 of them, each carved by hand, each telling a different story. Later, King Bhupatinda Malla renovated the structure, turning it into what many call the most beautiful example of wood carving in Nepal. From afar, it looks like pottery in wood, but when sunlight touches the carving, it almost feels alive. Taleju Bell. In front of the Vatsala Durga Temple, you will find the massive bell, the Taleju Bell, built in 17th century by King Jayaranjit Malla. It once rang every morning and evening, marking the time for prayers at the Taleju Temple. But legends adds a twist. They say when this bell was struck, dogs across the valley began barking. That's why it's often called the barking bell. Behind the bell lies a sunken stone water spout known as Lahaku Hiti. carved with mythical creatures like crocodiles and frog, proof that even practical plays here were made with artistry and care. Chaselin Mandap. Across the square stands the Chaselin Mandap, a pavilion built by King Srinivas Malla of Lalitpur. Unlike the temples, this one was not for worship. It was where king made guests or held royal events. Locals also say it was built to block the direct spiritual aura from Pashupati temple. A reminder that in Bhaktapur, even architecture follows energy and belief. A short walk away, you will find another stone marvel, the Siddha Lakshmi temple, also known as Lohantega. Built to honor goddess Siddha Lakshmi, this temple is believed to protect the city from evil spirits and negative energies. It stands upon a 7-tiered diminishing flint with the path of the 10 superb sculptures of humans, animals which are dogs, hares, rhinos, and various fanatical animals which are mythically figures and sloth bears. Each symbolizing strength, courage, and protection. The temple shows not just devotion but also how the Newar people told stories through stone. National Art Gallery. Before we leave Durbar Square, don't miss the National Art Gallery inside the western wing of the old royal palace. It's like stepping into the soul of Newar art. Fasidegal, or Silu Mahadev Temple. Once, before the Nathapol temple was built, the tallest structure in Bhaktapur was Fasidegal, also called Silu Mahadev. Its round, dome-like design gives it the nickname the Pumpkin Temple. King Jitamitra Malla built this Shikhara-style shrine in honor of Lord Shiva. Guarded by stone elephants, lions, and bulls, it stands on 5 layers of platforms, each side to represent the Panchamahapreta, or 5 divine forms of Shiva. Taumadhi Square. We are now entering Taumadhi Square, the lively heart of Bhaktapur. This is where art meets energy, where every temple seems to rise proudly toward the sky, and the air carries the hum of stories both ancient and alive. Nathapol Temple. The first thing that will take your breath away here in the Nathapol Temple. It's a 5-tiered roof stretching nearly 30 meters high. You can spot it from afar, rising above the city like a guardian of time. Built in 17th century by King Bhupatinda Malla, this temple has stood strong through century, surviving even the great earthquake of 1934 and 2015. It's a true masterpiece of engineering and devotion. As you climb the wide stone staircase, you will pass rows of guardians. First the wrestler, Jayamel and Patta, then elephants, lions, griffons, and finally 2 divine goddesses, Bhagini and Sigini. Each level represents strength, and each guardian is said to be 10 times stronger than the one below. At the top sits Siddha Lakshmi, or fierce form of goddess Durga, the protector of Bhaktapur. When the wind brushes through the temple's roof, it almost feels like the goddess is listening. Bhairavnath Temple. Just below Nathapol stands the Bhairavnath Temple, dedicated to Bhairav, the fierce form of Lord Shiva. Unlike the tall Nathapol, this one has a strong, compact design. During festival like Biscuit Jatra, the image of Bhairav is carried through the street on a chariot. Til Mahadev Narayan Temple. Hidden just a little behind the main square, there is a small yet deeply sacred site, the Til Mahadev Narayan Temple. It's one of Bhaktapur's oldest temple, dating back to around the year 1080. Locals believe that this temple has been continuously worshipped for almost 1,000 years. Dattatraya Square. Leaving the lively Taumadhi Square behind, we wander through narrow brick lanes and quiet country yards. Until the sound of the city softens into a gentle hum, we have arrived at Dattatraya Square, the eastern heart of Bhaktapur. Dattatraya Temple. Built in 14th century by King Yaksha Malla, this temple honors Lord Dattatraya, a divine form that combines the power of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. 3 gods in one: creation, preservation, and destruction, all unified in a single sacred space. Legend says the entire temple was constructed from the timber of a single tree. If you look closely, you will see carving that tells stories of gods, animals, and even humor. In front of the temple, the air feels charged yet peaceful. A statue of Garuda stands proudly with folded hands. And on either side, sacred pillars rise, symbols of strength and faith. When the evening light touches the temple's dark wood, the carving seems to glow, as if the gods themselves have come to rest in the square. Pujari Math and the peacock windows. Just a few steps away stand the Pujari Math, once a residence for Hindu priests, now home to Bhaktapur's famous wood carving museum. This traditional Newar building is a masterpiece of brick and timber. Its latticed windows, carved struts and courtyard all whispering stories from the 15th century. And here, hidden on its eastern wall, is one of the Bhaktapur's greatest treasure, the peacock window. Locals call it Mayur Jal. It's often called the Mona Lisa of Nepalese wood carving. The delicate peacock, its feathers spread in full grace. It's surrounded by intricate floral patterns and mythical figures. No matter how many times you look, you will always find something new, a detail, a symbol, a hidden meaning. Built during the time of King Yakshamalla, the math was later restored in 1763 and again in 1979 by German experts as a wedding gift to King Birendra. It stands today as a proud reminder of Bhaktapur's artistry, where every carving, every brick carries the thoughts of devotion. Bhimsen Temple. At the western end of the square, you will find the modest yet powerful shrine, the Bhimsen Temple. It's dedicated to Bhimsen, the mighty hero from the Mahabharata and the god of commerce and strength. Built in the 17th century, this two-story temple has an open lower floor and an inner sanctum above. In front stands a brass lion, its paw raised as if ready to leap into action. Pottery Square. As we make our way toward the southern part of Bhaktapur, the air begins to smell a little different, earthy, warm and familiar. We have reached Pottery Square, the beating hands of Bhaktapur. Here, the art isn't carved or painted, it's saved by clay, by time and by love. Everywhere you look, you will see potters at work, men and women sitting at their traditional wooden wheels, spinning, shaping and smoothing lumps of clay into vessels, cups and lamps. It's one of the world's oldest craft, and here in Bhaktapur, it still thrives just as it did centuries ago. The sun hits the square gently, drying hundreds of pots laid neatly across the ground. Some waiting to be fired, others already baked into deep brown shade of earth. You can feel something here, a sense of patience, of rhythm, of creations. The potters work quietly, their hands moving with memory, as if the clay already knows what it's meant to become. To Bhaktapur's spirit of craft, traditions and heart, because here, in this small square of clay and sunlight, you realize that Bhaktapur is more than temples or monuments. It's alive in the hands of its people. And so, our journey through Bhaktapur comes to an end. From the sacred waters of Siddha Pokhari to the royal elegance of Durbar Square, the towering Natapol Temple, the quiet wisdom of Dattatraya Square, and the living rhythms of Pottery Square, we have walked through centuries of devotions, craftsmanship, and grace. Bhaktapur isn't just a city, it's a heartbeat, steady, timeless, and true. And once you have heard it, you never really forget it.